This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Guys, Manscaped, the Lawnmower 3.0. The only thing I wish I could have done in my whole life is try the first and second version of this trimmer. Why? Because I wanted to see how much better this one was than what they created before. I will tell you, they sent me this exact Lawnmower 3.0 right here. I took it to town, guys. I did what they said. I mowed the lawn. It was a pleasurable experience, to say the least. I know we have a lot of ladies out there. I know we've got female followers, a good number of you. Guys, get the Lawnmower 3.0 for your man, for your cowboy, for the men in your life. Everybody wants a clean undercarriage. Everyone wants clean shaved. I know, this is a weird topic, right? It's a little bit weird, but in this Lawnmower 3.0, you have the most premium trimmer on the market. It's waterproof, guys. You've got 90 minutes of battery life with this sucker. You've got this little LED light. You see that? Yeah, you can trim in the dark. If you don't want anybody to see you, you can trim in the dark. Maybe that's in a living quarters horse trailer. Point is, I will never use another trimmer in my life. Once you guys get your Lawnmower 3.0, you will never, ever use another trimmer. With their ceramic blades, they've got a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Yeah, quiet stroke technology. You cannot go wrong with the Lawnmower 3.0, guys. It's the newest version from Manscaped. Get yourself right. We're cowboys. We're not heathens. Manscaping is important. Take care of your manscaping, people. And guys, do I have a deal for you? You can get your very own Lawnmower 3.0 with a 20% discount plus free shipping. Yeah, 20% and free shipping. Come on, guys. You want that. Use promo code GAUGE at checkout. That is GAUGE at checkout when you go to manscaped.com. You'll thank me later. Manscaped.com.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got my man. I'm going to call him my spirit animal because him and I are so similar, and he's just a great time. Hold on. The reason I'm calling him a spirit animal, not because he's an animal, but because his brother was a monkey. Anthony Lucia. He's one of the most entertaining guys, I think, in rodeo. I've always been a big fan, and, I think him and I are going to be really good friends. But I had not got to spend a long period of time with Anthony until the show. It's like, hey, hi, how are you in certain places? But we kind of got to talking, and it was a very entertaining episode. Poor young Ty was kind of poked fun at, which has been happening a lot lately. We're gonna try to tone that down a little bit. But Anthony and I had a great conversation. We related a lot. There was a lot of off-camera conversations that you'll never hear. But yeah, he's a great guy. Everything he does live with Lucia is pure gold, and I'm a huge fan of his and a supporter. And it's the same thing the other way around. And I think you guys will enjoy this one. Check it out. We can talk about anything.
Okay.
I'm like a goldfish, so I kind of just take us all over the place.
I'm just going to follow your lead.
Yeah.
I try to reel it in a little bit. It's not easy.
Well, I mean, what I've found is it works so well like that, and I think that's why people like it. But we've been doing it since end of May, and it's just stupid. I thought it would catch on.
Yeah.
I didn't know it'd catch on like that.
Well, when you have Haley and Ivy,
Yeah.
they've got some swag.
Yeah. Ivy's always had that swag since we were little kids, though. She always has.
Oh, she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's too funny. And she doesn't show her real personality very often.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't think people could take it.
Well, everybody's guarded. It's like kind of what you guys talked about. Everybody wants to see everybody in this one certain box.
Yep.
Where if you think this, then that's not cool. If you do this, then that's not cool. When in reality, that's what makes our sport so beautiful, is the fact of it's all these different kinds of people.
Yeah.
Doing on one path towards this one big goal.
Yeah, and it's like, that's the thing that's always bothered me about rodeo, and one of the reasons why I ultimately decided not to make a full-time career out of it myself is like, it's just, I've never loved anything that's very closed off.
Right.
When it doesn't make sense that it's closed off at all. It never has to me.
Yeah. Well, then you have to ask yourself, why then has rodeo not progressed like it should? Or like it could, in my opinion? Because in my opinion, rodeo is the greatest sport, hands down, why doesn't it appeal to a bigger audience? Like, that's the $1 million question, right?
Right.
Why doesn't it appeal to a bigger audience? It's our own fault. It's because we haven't opened ourselves up to a bigger audience.
Right. Well, and if you think about it, like down to real brass tacks, basic things, like the rancher mindset, like if you take it back to being a rancher, is to be closed off.
Right.
You're closed off from the world. You're isolated. Oh, that's always how it's been, right? I mean, you probably know as many or more ranchers than I do. I mean,
no free grazers.
no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, none of those. That would be pretty cool.
Have you ever seen Open Range?
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's the mindset. No free grazers. If your animals are going to eat here, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, and it's that mindset other than the PBR. They've done a great job, but of course they partner with the right companies to grow. I mean, if you look at the single biggest, and I talk about this all the time because I'm a fan, but the sport that grew the fastest and the largest is the Ultimate Fighting Championships, UFC. Mid-90s to now, that's like the blink of an eye compared to how long rodeo's been around.
Sure.
And it's top 5 biggest sports in the world within a couple decades.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
So that makes you wonder, and I'm sure you probably feel this way, why has rodeo been around as long or longer than baseball and it's one of the smallest?
I think it's one of those things where rodeo is a niche sport, right? And it's some people see it as a sport. My dad, who was old school rodeo, he always said that rodeo isn't a sport, rodeo is a show.
Yeah.
And I think we've diverted away from that. Yes, are the people that compete in rodeo athletes? Absolutely, hands down, no question about it. But do people see them as athletes?
No, people. So this is it's funny you say that because I was talking to some friends who have nothing to do with rodeo. They live in Colorado. We're from Colorado. And what the thing they remembered about rodeo is the Greeley Stampede's carnival.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you mean that thing they do with the carnival we go to every year? And I was like, yes, rodeo is a carnival. The athletes are seen as carnies. They kind of are carnies. They just travel from town to town.
My dad would always used to say, all we are is glorified truck drivers.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And that's how it feels when you rodeo. I mean, driving at 2 a.m., it's the best time to drive. But I think, and man, I just rack my brain with this because the main reason every member of my family, from my parents, my grandparents to my siblings, all of us make money from rodeo in one way or another. Always have. So it's really close to my heart. I'm sure just like you. I mean, that's how you make your living. Yeah. Right? That's how you provide for your family. Yeah. All your friends, that's how they provide for their family. Same thing here. And it's like racking your brain with how can you help further the sport? Yeah. Well, there's going to be one half of the population, and this is like repeating things I always say, but who's going to have a problem with it no matter what? Right. Tie down's always going to be a problem.
It is.
Bulldogging, going to be a problem. Team roping, a problem. Take somebody like young Tyler here, for instance.
Packers fan.
He's a Packers fan, but he's also has no experience with rodeo. Yeah. When he started, we did these little funny segments asking him the events. He got most of them wrong, right?
I did not.
Just for fun. But wouldn't you say, until now you have all this great context, right, Ty?
Yes.
And you can appreciate it for what it is because you've got to hang out with some of the best who do it, and you get to see the quality of people. But before, you probably would have thought, oh my God, this is horrible for animals, right?
To be honest, because I kind of grew. I had a family that lived in East Texas. They did a very small town rodeo. Occasionally, they had their own ranch, and so I already had some knowledge that it wasn't that bad for animals at the least, but I wasn't as aware as I am now.
Yeah,
right.
But on an outsider perspective, I can definitely see why people would just kind of see that this is not good for animals or anything like that. I understand that perspective of why people would see it that way.
And that mindset, and that not even a mindset, but that way of thinking is what has pushed me to go from team roping, trick roping, to I want to be a rodeo announcer. I am. That's what I do.
Yeah,
but
really great at it too.
Thank you. But that passion is why I want to be a rodeo announcer. I've done a lot of stuff on TV. I've done a bunch of different things, done stuff for the PBR, and all of that's great. But my heart and soul is to be in professional rodeo and educate, entertain, and cause people to have a feeling of, I love this sport.
Yeah.
I loved this show. This was the funnest 2 hours, 2.5 hours of my entire year was this rodeo. How has that happened? It's from the announcer, from the actual product, no matter what comes out of the gates, what comes out of the chutes, what happens in the arena. If I can find a way somehow or another to make that entertaining, then those people are going to feel good about it.
Exactly.
And that's what creates a fan.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, right? Because you and I have the same goal, it sounds like. We come at it kind of similar in a way, but in different arenas, technically. But I don't think any less impactful on either side. But the rodeo athlete, now it's great. We have social media now. And it's interesting because what you find is some people in rodeo, like athletes, for instance. I call them athletes now. I don't call them cowboys anymore. That's just my personal opinion. Because if you meet a Tim O'Connell, it's like, that's a freaking athlete.
Yeah.
Or some of these PBR guys, like you meet Jose, that guy's a freaking athlete. Insane.
Yeah.
Stud, ripped. Yeah. These are athletes. But I don't know very many people who use social media to its fullest. You know, a few people come to mind, the Fallon Taylors of the world.
Sure.
Like, look at that shit. It's crazy
It's amazing.
what she's done.
It's amazing.
And that's huge for the sport. No matter what your opinion is of her, you know, she's done great things for the sport.
Hands
as far
down.
as welcoming people in.
And she's created more fans that never would have been a part because she's went outside of just talking barrel racing. Now she actually helps people with their how they see themselves and how they pursue their goals and dreams, and that is huge. And I think that's one of the biggest things in professional rodeo that we have available to us is those heroes.
Yep.
Are the Tim O'Connells who, you know, never rode a saddle horse.
Yeah.
But has worked
lives
his
in a
tail off.
townhouse.
Yeah, but has worked his tail off to be one of the greatest bareback riders, quite possibly, that's ever, I mean, will go down in history.
Yep.
Casey Fields, same way. And in every event, every single event, the rodeo cowboy and cowgirl, or the rodeo athlete, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
they have had to overcome, and I'm not saying guys from interstate that fight, you know, 1% are able to make it to the NFL.
You've got some like that. Some people who won't talk about it, you know, who came from an inner-city background. It's pretty interesting.
But that's the difference is I know the story of LeBron James, who grew up in Ohio and, you know, had nothing and then was this standout student. That's why I'm a fan of him.
Yep.
I know the stories of all these different athletes that we have come from nothing and came from, you know, sports saved their lives. Mm-hmm. If you went through just the top 120 athletes in the world of professional rodeo that are going to go to the National Finals Rodeo and compete here in a couple months, if you went through them and heard every one of their stories, there's not one that you wouldn't be a fan of.
No.
There's not one, because every single individual in our sport just to compete. And oh, by the way, 2021's already started. And they're already back at the grind.
Last week,
like
yeah.
that's the craziest thing, and that's where when you say social media is underutilized, it's because I feel like there's some of these athletes they don't want to do a pity party story. It's not a pity party story. It's real life. Everybody's went through hard times. Everybody's went through down times, and it's how you've reacted from those times that's made you who you are. And makes you a competitor, and makes a guy like Chad Rutherford, who qualified into his first national finals in the bareback riding, his story and getting hurt, literally what could have been a career-ending injury in Reno, Nevada, his wife leaving him the next week, and then him just saying, no, I'm not going to accept defeat. And then Katie comes into the picture, and she just inspires him and encourages him, and now he's making his first trip to the national finals. If more people knew those stories, we would have more fans.
Well, absolutely, which is why we do what we do.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's funny because everything that we've kind of done to grow the show has been strategy, right? Me doing the very first episode with my sister, that was strategy.
Yeah.
I knew it would hit the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 episodes that are our biggest ever. It's
Yeah.
her and one other, and that was for a reason. But you're so right. And the reason rodeo people they're too dang tough.
Right.
Plain and simple. And it doesn't even matter to the event. I mean, there's barrel racers who are tougher than bull riders.
For
you
sure.
know, and no one's going to complain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if they do, they're not going to get the sympathy that maybe you would expect them to get,
Right.
because everybody's like, yeah, so what? We all have to go through the same thing.
But the fans themselves would appreciate those stories, and that's where I think a rodeo announcer, and there's a new generation of rodeo announcers coming on.
Oh, yeah.
Myself, Garrett Yergin, Andy Seiler, who, congratulations to him, got the NFR this year, and
Yep.
I'm just thrilled for him. And nothing against any of the legends, right? The Brookses, the Randy Corleys, the Bob Tallmans, all those guys are true legends and will always will be. But there's a new era of storytellers coming in, and it's going, in my opinion, that is what's going to continue to progress our sport, is the people who can tell the story about that athlete in 15 seconds and make me believe in what they're about to do.
Well, and it's a rodeo announcer, and it's funny you mentioned Garrett, because I mean he makes a good point that people are actually growing up now wanting to be rodeo announcers. He uses himself as an example, and you just don't hear that, right? Because sometimes you're in the stands, you may not know who's announcing, right? The number of rodeos Bob Tallman's announced that you didn't even, like, at least me when I was growing up, didn't even realize who that was. It's interesting, but even still, like at the Riggin Rally, for instance, you and Bob were there, and taking that old and the new and combining it works really well. The way you guys operated that event, I was a big fan of all that, even though I was stumbling around.
That was, when I met you after that event, I was like, man, this guy, he did it right tonight.
Yeah.
You had fun.
Oh, I had a great time.
It was a phenomenal event.
It was, and
gosh.
And that weather kind of turned everything, at least for us.
Yeah.
Right, but we had to adjust on the fly and move into that shed that we were. But it worked out great. We got great content, and it was fun, and then we got to enjoy it. And I appreciate what you said, by the way. That was funny. That's how I knew you would listen to it. When you were like, Conrad do, I was like, this guy actually listened to the podcast. That was funny. But
yeah, and then what was funny is I don't remember who it was afterwards. They're like, you don't listen to the podcast. You said his name wrong. And I go, that's why I said his name wrong. And then I followed it up with Chance Conrado.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, go easy on me.
That was pretty funny.
There's a method to my madness.
That's what's fun about this is you'll, like with anything, right? You'll get these people who will viciously defend you.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that about him. Or even you, like, you can't say that about Anthony. And then you have other people, who will just be like, oh, this is a freaking joke.
What have you been saying about me?
Oh, well, I guess you haven't been listening.
I've not. Todd, do I need to tune in?
No, yeah, nothing bad.
Holy cow.
No,
I've listened to a few.
Here's the funny thing. So my sister, she says her favorite show to go on is your show.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I take is like, what I'll do is I'll ask specific people. Like if it's somebody I don't know, which I've never actually met you, which was interesting. I'm sure we've been at the same places many times. But,
I would bet so.
So what I do is like, what do you think about this guy?
That's dangerous.
What's your opinion of this guy? Not a bad thing has been said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, other than a couple people said you could brush up on your rope tricks, which I was surprised to hear that. But
that is a bit surprising. But no, I'll tell you a quick story about Ivy. So Tassie Monroe, you know Tassie.
I've known Tassie
like
my
your
whole
sister.
life.
It's like another sister. So same thing. Tassie's been just a huge supporter and an encourager in my career.
Sure.
In every step of my career. And, of course, her dad and mom were friends with my dad back in the day. In fact, my dad and her mom got inducted in the Hall of Fame last year.
Yeah.
It was just it was a special time. But
yeah, they're great people.
Oh,
they've
so
known
good.
my dad since he was a kid.
Oh, I can
That's
imagine.
how long we've known them.
Yeah, Jim's is a character.
I'm telling you.
And I tell you, one of the biggest things, if anybody ever has met Bud Monroe, you know that when he says something positive about you, that's a win. That's a win because he's very...
With Bud, if he says anything to you, that's a win.
Yeah, there you go. And Tassie texted me. I don't remember when it was. It might have been at the Days of 47 when I don't remember what network it was on, but it was 2017. It was the year it was counted for the PRCA World Standings, and it was myself and Mike Mathis announcing it. And I get a text mid-show from Tassie. Normally, I don't ever read texts unless there's two announcers.
Right.
And then I also leave my phone up in case, the GM or somebody says, hey, mention this sponsor or welcome this guest. And so, great thing about technology. But and she said, Bud wanted me to tell you that you don't suck. Thank you so much. And that was huge. And then the next day she said, Bud said you did a really good job, that he was just kidding about the other. And I'm like, so he did say that I sucked? No, you did a good job. Just go with it and be good.
Right.
But Tassie connected me with Ivy, her first NFR.
Yep.
And I'll never forget it because it was so my show, Live with Lucia in Vegas, is fun and, light. And we just...
Yeah, it's a great show.
Well, thank you. Have you watched it?
I've watched it, actually, yeah. And I'm one of those guys who doesn't consume a lot of... I'm going to be very blunt here. I don't consume a lot of rodeo content outside of what I can get from just talking to people on social media and Google, because I find it to be too dry.
Sure.
And that's just my personal opinion, which is not the case with your show, which is why I like it.
Well, thank you. But when Ivy came on, that was a bad NFR, real bad NFR.
It was hard.
And after she had just the year that she'd had, and I like everybody just whatever, and she came on, and I could tell I respected her so much because she didn't have to.
Yeah.
She could have said, "Hey, man, I'm not feeling good." She could have said anything, and I would have been like, "That's
Right.
fine, I get it."
Right.
Like if you're having a bad week, who wants to go on a show? But when she came on and she handled herself the way that she did, and we tried to, I at one point you could tell she was almost in tears. Not because I was like, so what's going on? Because if somebody's having a bad week, I don't even talk about the NFR.
Right.
We're not talking about it. We're going to talk about everything else.
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
horses, your family. We're going to play games. It's going to be fun. And at one point I got up and I just went over and I put my arm around her and I said, listen, this is your first of many NFRs. And I said, myself and everybody out in this audience, we're fans and we always will be, no matter if you win $1 or you win $1 million tonight or over the next however many days.
Yeah.
I said, but we're fans because of you. And there's obviously I've been doing the show for 10 years.
Right.
So there's a lot of shows, 100 shows, right? But her, just because it was a moment, like it was a pivotal moment, I felt like in her week, because we came together as fans to say, hey, it's all right. That's this sport. And she got emotional, and then I half-assed got emotional, and it was just like, ugh, this is why I do this. This is why I do what I do. This is why I want to announce rodeos. This is why I host this show, because I want to show the real side of people, not the 30, and you guys have talked about it on the show, the 35 seconds they have to tell us about your run tonight. Okay, I want to thank all my sponsors. It was a good steer, ran out there, got my job done. That's all we can do. And I want to thank all my sponsors, and I want to thank God. That's awesome. Cool. I know nothing more about that person than I did, who just went 3-3 in the Bulldogging, who just went 3-9 in the team roping, who just, I don't know, my wife would kill me, but I don't know what a good time is at the NFR. Like 13-11, is that the record?
As far as barrel racing?
Yeah. Is that the record, 13-11?
Yeah, I think that might be it. I mean, it's
Ty, can you Google
it's dang
that?
fast. It's
He's
like,
Googling already.
of course, all that's different this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be like 17 O's or something in that giant
Is it
pin.
going to be a standard pattern?
I don't even know. I'm sure they've announced it.
Because I saw some Facebook, Jimmy Smith. She posted something the other day. Jimmy utilizes Facebook.
She does. She was in here on Saturday.
She was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. She's great.
All right, Haley Kinsel has the record at 13-11.
Okay, so I was right. All right. So either way, you don't learn anything more about that athlete or the animal that was underneath them in that 40 seconds.
Right.
And that's why it's so important with podcasts such as this, with Live with Lucia during the NFR, and we're going to actually be doing it this year at Will Rogers Complex. So stay tuned to all the social media stuff for that. And it's actually going to work good because a lot of the companies aren't making their athletes sign autographs,
right?
Because of all the COVID stuff. And so I've already talked to a multitude of my partners that have big teams, Cinch and Justin and Resist All and all them classic. And they're like, this is perfect because we can send them there. We know they're going to be safe. They don't got to be around people. And then they're still going to be able to be seen by the fan.
Right.
Which is what all the fans, they want to hear those stories.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're doing very similar thing, 10
Yeah.
days for the NFR. I mean, you'd be foolish not to if you have any kind of program, but because it's just such a unique year, right? And, there's some people who are naysayers, but over and all, it seems like everybody is pretty dang supportive of the PRCA and this move to Arlington. I mean, all things considered, and I'm sure you agree, it's the best situation could hope for in a year like this.
The PRCA and the Cowboy Channel, and I want to even lean more heavily on the Cowboy Channel, they have single-handedly saved our industry and saved the careers of our cowboys and cowgirls, our athletes in this year, in my humble opinion. Because if they wouldn't have kicked open the chutes, if the PRCA didn't have the media contract with Cowboy Channel where they had that extra money to put into committees and put into rodeos, Gold Buckle Beer and Cinch, what they've done the last 2 weeks of the season at Rapid City, where they couldn't do the tour finale. Well, guess what? Guess who stepped up? Gold Buckle Beer and Cinch stepped up so that they could do that.
Yeah.
That's if that gives you any inclination as to how passionate people are about our sport and the people of it and wanting to provide them a living, it's so awesome.
It
so
is.
awesome.
Yeah, and every single person who's in the top 15 of each of the the disciplines, feels that way. I mean, there may be some people like, God, I really wish I would have known. And I know there's probably some people who decided to scrap the year because they didn't know what was going on, who would have liked some more information. But what everybody's got to understand, and I just hope they do, is that just like you didn't know what was going on, or the grocer, or the bar owner, or the Uber driver, you name it, didn't know what's going on, you don't think that the PRCA or any of these committees knew what was going on, do you? No one knew what was going on. Don't.
No, absolutely. It's fluid. Yep. That's how I describe all of it. Is it's fluid. The Ute Stampede in Nephi, Utah. Generally, they're the beginning of the Utah run. Spanish Fork, Ogden, Salt Lake, all that around there. And this year, all those other ones except Spanish canceled.
Yep.
And the Ute Stampede is a 7-man committee, and they got approval from their local government officials to be able to put half the amount of people in. And they have about 11,800 seat venue. It's actually the largest in Utah, in this town of 3,500 people in Nephi, Utah. And the risk, so I'm pretty close with that committee. And they were just honest. They were like, we don't know how this is going to go. This could go terribly wrong or it could go great. But either way, we feel that it's our duty to put this on for our community. And there are so many rodeos that did the same thing. And I talked to Tom Hersig with Cheyenne when we were at the Gold Buckle Knockout in Stoneham this last week. Yeah. And I said, I understand why y'all had to cancel. Absolutely. When you have that big of an event, Days of 47 had to cancel. And my brother runs that complex. And when you have to cancel, when you have that many other things that are along with your rodeo, I get it.
And that's the reason. It's not the rodeo, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the massive country concerts they do in there, rather. And
the fair, the cookouts. Crazy. There's so many elements that in our small-minded rodeo thinking, we're like, well, they could have still had the rodeo. Well, where are they going to get the money to put up hundreds of thousands of dollars for the rodeo if they don't have all these ancillary activities going on to promote it and to basically give it life? But there's so many committees that did step up this year, the smaller committees. And what the neatest thing, because of what the Cowboy Channel's doing, those committees that normally they would not be on the Cowboy Channel. I'm sorry, they wouldn't. Yeah. And that's fine. That's the size of the rodeo.
Creek, no.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. And even Nephi, when you've got all these different events and the Cheyennes and the Salinas and all these different rodeos, those are going to be the bigger type rodeos that, are you telling me to stop? What were you doing with your hands?
Sorry, I was yawning and stretching.
You were yawning?
Oh, so I guess
okay.
Anthony's
not
boring
this.
you,
well, that's
Tyler.
Fair. Okay. You know what? You're right. I am boring. Let's hear more from Tyler. Tyler, why are you now?
Hold on. This is a wet dream for Ty. Somebody's actually soliciting conversation from him. We got to be really careful the next few things you say, Anthony, because you just opened a floodgate.
Tyler, how would you feel if I asked you to go get me another glass of Pendleton? That's my first question.
Fine, I can do that.
It's in his job description. I will tell you that.
What? It is?
No.
It is now.
Great.
I'm kidding. No, Tyler, I do want to know more about you. Why do you like the Packers?
My dad had a friend in high school that actually played for the Packers in the 80s and 90s and won the ring with them whenever they won in the 90s. And so my dad just kind of grew me up as a Packer fan.
Okay, great story. Anyways, these committees...
How does that? Finally, one of our guests shuts you down the way that I always have to.
Hey, I still got a story, and I'll take it.
No, you got a story, and it was a good story, and it was I was probably getting redundant. But long story short, I appreciate the yawn because it keeps me on pace. Long story short, the committees that were able to put on rodeos, because of the help from the PRCA and the Cowboy Channel, it's funny how there was a lot of people that weren't excited about the Cowboy Channel being, the rodeo media partner.
Okay, so that's an interesting topic, right? Because it creates some strange things, right? Like as far as from a viewership standpoint, network TV station, CBS Sports, it's been on there the whole time. Cable network with the viewership is not the same,
right?
And so there's an interesting argument both ways, right? I'd be interested to know where you stand. I mean, you're going to be pro Cowboy Channel, obviously, I can already tell, and I am too at this point, but I wasn't when they made the deal.
Okay, I'll be honest, I was reluctant as well. I've done a lot of stuff for what used to be the Cowboy Channel's direct competitor in Ride TV, and I was like, oh, the Cowboy Channel. But I'll just tell you how I've evolved in my thinking. We've always said that more media time will give us a better grasp and a better foothold in the getting the new fans, right? Here's what I have to say to that. When we put out great content on the Cowboy Channel, when we can tell the stories of the athletes and actually have the time to tell the stories with Justin McKee's Pro Rodeo Tonight, with Western Sports Roundup, Steve Kenyon and Janie, and all the stuff that Amy Wilson does, actually being able to tell those stories. Here's the thing. We think rodeo's awesome. So if we can show by actually telling the stories, gaining fans by telling the stories, then what's going to happen? It's no different than the Golf Network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So then what's happened, though? Golf Network shows these rounds, and then it goes to an NBC or CBS or whatever. So what's going to stop us from saying we're going to dedicate an entire network to professional rodeo? We're going to build the fans. We're going to tell the stories. We're going to actually let people – I talk a lot with my hands, by the way. We're going to let the people learn about our sport and the people and animals of it. So now what we're going to have is, because on CBS Sports, God love them, they're great. We had an hour and 40 minutes for the National Finals Rodeo, 120 contestants. That's not enough time.
Right.
Period, not enough time. So if what we can do through the Cowboy Channel is it gets so awesome and we're able to show, I'm so excited to watch the NFR this year because I'm like, we're going to have the time to now tell the stories of the Chad Rutherfords, tell the stories of the Brent Hall and Chase Tryons and the team roping, tell the stories of Tiani Schuster and I was bummed when Jessie didn't make it, Jessie Telford.
Yeah.
Because she had just, done some amazing things the last month. But I don't remember. Oh, Brittany Barnett, that story.
Yeah.
Like the coming into, oh my gosh, feel the sting. Ryan Padone.
Ryan, yeah.
Feel the sting.
Yep.
Come on, you're a barrel racing guy.
Hey, I'm not a barrel racing guy. I was born into it.
I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
I know a lot about monkeys because I grew up with a monkey, so that's a whole nother.
That's a good point.
So, but you're by
No,
association.
Ryan Padone's great. Yeah.
Yeah, but those type of stories and how clutch they had to be at Rapid City and how clutch they had to be in the last month of the season when the dollars were scattered all about and they were few and far between.
Well, and there's so many great stories, too, of people who were on the bubble who didn't get into a certain rodeo and couldn't, the Dawson Hayes of the world.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's...
Geez, Jake Finlay, Dawson
Jake
Hay.
Finley, yeah, they were just on the show, and yeah, both of them got in that situation. It was just like, God damn, this year.
Yeah, it was hard. But that's where I think the Cowboy Channel is, one, the money they've put into the PRCA. We've never, and I say we like I'm the PRCA, but the PRCA has never seen this amount of money.
Right.
And this has helped so much in keeping our sport alive in this year of 2020 when it's been a crap year. And it would have been so easy for them to go, hey, this sucks. We're going to be done.
Yeah.
We'll come back. Hey, we'll come back strong in 2021.
Yep.
You guys have a good year. How many cowboys and cowgirls in every one of the events rely on the rodeos that they get to go to?
Many.
But it's a real thing.
Yep.
So that's my stance. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't a believer at first. Was not. I was a naysayer. Like, Cowboy Channel, RFD, are you kidding me? But I've seen what they've done, and I've seen how much they give a crap. No other network, not CBS, not CBS Sports, and I've worked for them, and I think they're great. We were a time slot. We were paying them. Now somebody's paying us for this product.
Well, and that's because Cowboy Channel sees the direct correlation with helping the sport, helping them, right?
Yeah.
They see the value in that.
And that's
exactly
the kind
why.
of partners that you have to have.
You
a
do,
true
yeah.
partner. It's not only about what are you going to give me, but then on the flip side, what can I give you?
Yep.
And that's why, in my opinion, it's an amazing partnership and an amazing time to be a rodeo cowboy, because we now have, I've never been able to watch as much rodeo, as many slacks.
It's great.
Oh,
yeah. In fact, you get sick of rodeo.
I mean, a little bit, because you're like, oh crap, especially like in the busy time earlier this summer, when you go to their
every single day
on Cowboy Channel Plus, you're like, holy God, I need to go do something with my life.
Yep.
Because I'm watching the slack in Deadwood or watching. Are you yawning again, Ty?
No, I'm not yawning.
He is so distracting. Did you pay him?
He's paid. Yes. and handily pay him.
Handily.
I'm
Yeah.
just making sure the camera's still working.
Why does your mic sound better than mine?
I don't know. I guess I have a radio voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How does that feel when you're a TV host and an announcer for rodeos when some guy says, I got a better voice than you?
It's Ty, so it doesn't really matter.
Ty is the biggest target.
Lucia's just damn.
Yeah,
See, speechless.
he is.
When all you can do
hey,
is
who
damn.
do you think has hazed you the most on this show? Not him.
I've not
Included.
hazed you.
Who do you think?
It's tough between you and Dustin.
No. Guests. Not me, not Dustin. Yeah, we have a vested interest in hazing you. And we own the company.
They're
so yes,
doing
of
it
course.
to make
I
you
don't
better.
know, Anthony. I think you're at the top of the leaderboard at this moment.
Can I tell you what started this?
What?
You yawning. And it's the afternoon. You shouldn't be yawning.
You've heard the show. You've heard my sleep schedule.
Who didn't know? I've not heard his sleep schedule.
Okay, good. That's probably good because I think you opened that up. Who was it that maybe it was, I don't know. Marty Yates gave you a harder time than Anthony is so far.
Marty wasn't that bad.
Marty at one point, this is where you can't take Marty serious. At one point, he and Caleb Schmidt were on my show and we were talking about Caleb's wife having their child.
Yeah.
And I asked Marty, I said, well, were you there for that? And he's like, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't want to see a baby get pooped out. I'm sorry, what?
That's the best.
What?
That's what you
And
need on
he
this sort of
made
thing.
and if you're watching on YouTube, he did this, pooped out. Like he did the motion,
Yep.
like of releasing the floodgates.
That's about what it looks
and
like.
a baby comes out, surprise.
Well, he was right on
I'm
the
not
money.
a dad yet, so I don't
You're
want
not.
No.
Well, I am, and I will tell you.
You are?
They fire out of there.
Is Tyler? Is that your firstborn?
Tyler's not my first.
He does not look anything like you.
No, he doesn't. No, I will say that the structure of my son's face is a little different.
Strong jawline.
Stronger jaw.
Yeah.
more
What do you say about my
Colorado.
jawline
You
now?
gotta I'm not gonna compliment another man's jawline. Come on, man.
You kind of offhandedly complimented mine.
Whatever. You're in shape. I respect that. It's just, it's bro love.
Yeah, there
it's
you go.
all good.
Yeah, you got to appreciate that. It takes a lot of work to not eat the ho-hos.
Yeah, I haven't caught up to that yet. But anyways,
Yeah, well, rodeo's evolving, Anthony. It's time for you too as well.
thank you. You saying I'm fat?
No, not at all.
Wow.
He looked off when he said that. He means it.
He does.
It's fun. Line me up another.
No, there's a great place called Fit and Wise. I'd give it a try.
Okay. Fit and Wise actually rehabbed my shoulder.
They're great guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
Adam
I
and
love, I love
Chip.
Adam and Keith.
Yeah. Yeah, I tore my labrum. I'm just diverting from the fat comments.
Actually,
but
that wasn't a fat comment. No, I think everybody could be in a little bit better shape.
I
You look-
know for a fact I could. And
you look very well built.
I can be.
Upper body strength.
I've got that. I've got all of the strengths.
You're a header,
And,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That makes
is that how you tore your shoulder?
Yeah.
Robin?
Well, all the years of trick roping and then team roping. I started team rope when I was 21.
You started
And,
team roping at 21.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
You didn't grow up team roping?
No. I grew up trick roping because that's all I could do because I traveled around the country with my dad, taking care of him and Whiplash, the cowboy monkey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a
that's
good
all
point.
I
I guess I
did.
didn't think about that.
Whiskey and water on the. Go ahead. Yeah.
On the double, he was gonna say Ty on the double,
I love this guy.
not a double
Pendleton.
on the double.
Is there any other? Come on. And it's Pendleton. The D is not silent.
No, it isn't.
Tell me when it's done.
Well,
Might as well.
are you guys out of ice? What are you doing?
All right, so let's make sure I don't want to pour you too much.
You can tell he's never worked at a bar. Is this going to be like the 30th episode where we talk about what your drink of choices are, Ty? You don't want to know. You're going to lose all respect for him.
Toddies?
Uh,
No, what's
worse than that.
the mojitos?
no, a mojito would be a big step up and an improvement in the manliness. No, we're talking about like stuff that has cherries and pineapple
Oh.
slices in it.
Okay.
Blended up.
I dig that.
Color, blue.
Whatever. Oh, ocean water or what is
Things
that what
like
it's
that.
called? Ocean
Yeah.
water?
I don't know what they're called, but they're not what you would expect.
My eldest brother
Then
who's
again, I should say, not to cut you off, it's maybe exactly what you would expect.
Thank you, Ty. You know what, Ty? You deserve a raise. Whatever you're getting paid.
I'll take it.
You're the best. What's awesome
You
is
just got a raise not too terribly long ago.
Did I?
Yeah, you haven't even been,
You went
haven't even
from-
been
you-
employed for a year. You think
you went from being not paid to paid. Surprise.
Let me know if that drink's too strong or not.
It's not gonna be. I'm gonna be honest. I went to
you grew up with a monkey, for God's sake?
well, we don't have to revert back to that.
He's not going to know who your dad and Whiplash are, though.
Whiplash the cowboy monkey. Do not Google. Okay? With just what I said, what do you think Whiplash the cowboy monkey is?
I'm going to assume it's a monkey
Okay.
Congrats
with a
on that
cowboy
one.
Good job. Okay. You've got, okay. So far, so good.
2 for 2.
that ropes,
Okay. One more try.
that bronc rides.
Okay. Monkey that bronc rides. Wears a cowboy hat.
That
Okay.
actually sounds better than what it actually is.
If my dad could have trained a monkey to ride a horse, he would have.
Instead of a border
Yeah,
collie.
instead of a border collie. So Whiplash was a pint-sized cowboy that rode a border collie and herded up wild Barbados sheep.
Sounds interesting.
It's amazing. YouTube it, Google
It
it.
actually is. Like when I was a kid at the Greeley Stampede before I would mutton
Oh
bust,
yeah,
watching that
got you
monkey.
hyped up.
Here's the thing. I thought the monkey really was enjoying himself initially.
He does.
You think he does?
I know for a fact
Does he
he
love
does.
it?
Oh
I've
my
always
gosh, he
wondered,
loved
like if
it.
he hated his life or not.
No.
Yeah.
He loved like the, and this is gonna sound weird because you were like, why would a monkey like doing that?
Yeah.
He sincerely loved it. He's still alive. Kenny Pettit has him in Stephenville, and like
God, they must live a long time.
35, 45 years is their expected life.
So he's
And
got to be getting up there.
He's 35. He's 2 months. No, excuse me. He's a year younger than me, so he's 34. But he seriously loves it.
Really?
Loves it. Loved, like whenever we would be off, like when my dad got older and he wasn't doing much, he was kind of like this sounds dumb, but he went through a little bit of depression.
Yeah.
And then once Kenny took him and actually, got him back on the dog and chasing sheep and, screaming and
How come you didn't do it?
great question. I wanted my own identity. I knew that one, I could never be as good as my dad doing it. And I don't think anybody could. Maybe I'm prejudiced, but Kenny gives it a valiant effort. And, but I didn't want to do that. And like, it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning where
Yeah.
I wanted to I don't want to say do more. I felt like I had more to offer than just being the guy with the monkey.
Guys, Manscaped, the Lawnmower 3.0. The only thing I wish I could have done in my whole life is try the first and second version of this trimmer. Why? Because I wanted to see how much better this one was than what they created before. I will tell you, they sent me this exact Lawnmower 3.0 right here. I took it to town, guys. I did what they said. I mowed the lawn. It was a pleasurable experience, to say the least. I know we have a lot of ladies out there. I know we've got female followers, a good number of you. Guys, get the Lawnmower 3.0 for your man, for your cowboy, for the men in your life. Everybody wants a clean undercarriage. Everyone wants clean shaved. I know this is a weird topic, right? It's a little bit weird, but in this Lawnmower 3.0, you have the most premium trimmer on the market. It's waterproof, guys. You've got 90 minutes of battery life with this sucker. You've got this little LED light. You see that? Yeah, you can trim in the dark. If you don't want anybody to see you, you can trim in the dark. Maybe that's in a living quarters horse trailer. Point is, I will never use another trimmer in my life. Once you guys get your Lawnmower 3.0, you will never, ever use another trimmer. With their ceramic blades, they've got a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Yeah, quiet stroke technology. You cannot go wrong with the Lawnmower 3.0, guys. It's the newest version from Manscaped. Get yourself right. We're cowboys. We're not heathens. Manscaping is important. Take care of your manscaping, people. And guys, do I have a deal for you? You can get your very own Lawnmower 3.0 with a 20% discount plus free shipping. Yeah, 20% and free shipping. Come on, guys. You want that. Use promo code GAUGE at checkout. That is GAUGE at checkout when you go to manscaped.com. You'll thank me later. Manscaped.com.
It's a choice that we all have to make. And it's almost, for me, it's almost been like a reason I want to do things different.
Right.
I want to accomplish things beyond what my dad was able to accomplish. Whether or not that ever happens, I don't know, because my dad did a lot. But I want to do that, and then I want to impact people in a positive way along the road.
Yeah,
which is different.
Your dad did great things, but
Yeah.
He's now your late father and all that. And I think we could, we had a lot of off-air conversation. Now we're back on air, but it just seems to me, just based on what I know, because we just had a very deep conversation that we can never put out,
Never.
which is great. It seems like maybe you do things for a different reason than he did, though.
Dad, I think, did it for survival.
Yeah.
When he came from nothing, the streets of Minneapolis, and he built up this rodeo slash, persona and characters, and he was a workaholic when it came to making his acts the best acts, being whether it was a clown or whether it was specialty acts, whether it was animal training, like that was his drive. Like I think he was always so scared of being broke or on the streets again that he wouldn't settle for anything else than perfect. And anyone that ever worked with my dad would say, yeah, Tommy was hard on us.
Yeah.
But he was a perfectionist. Like, because he was so scared of not doing a good enough job. So if an announcer did a bad job on his act, like he was going to rip him a new one. If the gate guy didn't open the gate up at the right time and it screwed up the act, or what he thought, then he would get onto that guy. And it was just no different for us kids. Like he drove us so hard to be great at whatever you do and don't do anything half-butted and give everything you've got. And if you fail, okay, you failed giving it your all. If you succeeded, okay, great, but you're not at the top.
Yep.
Never be okay with one success. Like never say I've made it. And that's been a constant driving force in my life, where I never want to go, I did it, I got a talk show in Vegas. No. I want to, that doesn't even scratch the surface of what I want to do, right? And even with announcing or trick roping and everything, that was one of the reasons I got out of trick roping, because I didn't feel like I could go any further than I was, in a sense. Like I had trick roped the NFR.
Well, you're limited by your environment.
Yes. Yeah. Only 30 to 40 rodeos need an actual entertainer at the rodeo, right? There's Tomas Garcilaso, some great trick riders, Madison, and a whole slew of them. Bobby Kerr, John Payne, which, the one-armed bandit's been around for years and years. But I was like, I don't want this to be my story. Like, oh man, that's Tommy's boy. He's a good trick roper. Like, I want to make an impact in a positive way on our sport. Like, I want to grow it. I want to be a part of the evolution of rodeo.
Right.
And that's kind of my driving force. You talked, why didn't you just take over the Monkey Dog and Monkey Act? That'd have been easy. I could have made $200,000 or $300,000 a year, easy. Like that's a given, but that would have been easy.
Right.
And I want to earn what I get. And my dad never announced. He never trick roped. You'll see a pattern in my life. He never team roped.
Yep.
It's funny because people, they don't think about it like that, but there's a reason that I went that direction. Why did you train dogs? I'll train my dogs. That's because what my dad did.
Yep.
Not being rebellious, but I don't want to, yes, my family, a lot of people the haters, right? They'll be like, oh, well, that's Tommy Lucia. Well, guess what? My dad died almost 5 years ago, and he has not helped me get any jobs. Did I learn a lot from him and from the wisdom he gave other rodeo announcers and things like that? Absolutely. But beyond that, not one of you MFers can say that, oh, that just because he's Tommy Lucia's boy, that's why he got that. No. I got it because I'm gonna work. I'm gonna at least try to work harder than anybody, and that's kind of my motto.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing you find, and believe me, I mean, we get it a lot here because it looks a certain way, but no one ever sees the work that goes into things behind closed doors, and that's why it's nice.
That's an easy way for people to try to degrade something good that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. It's not the fact that I don't want to use the word jealousy because then I seem like, oh, well, they're just jealous of us.
Yeah.
But it's an easy way. Well, oh, he did that. They have to justify it in their mind because they can't fathom the fact that somebody might have a bit more try, a bit more talent, and if they don't have either one of those things, they got more work ethic.
Yeah. But that's the story of professional rodeo.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Exactly.
It truly is, and you just, it's funny because we were having our little Dr. Phil therapy session there off air where we both.
Ty, you shut your mouth.
Were you laughing?
He was.
I was laughing at you calling it Dr. Phil session.
Well, I mean, it kind of was.
Oh, wait, Ty, I'm supposed to be nice to you now. I'm sorry. Ty, you're doing a really
Restart.
great job. Yeah, edit all that out. Ty, you're really good at your job.
I will give Ty some credit. He may, and there's some really great podcasts in Texas now. This is
breakthrough.
In fact, the best podcast probably arguably is Joe Rogan, which is now in Texas.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
No. Sorry, what was that? What's the name of that one that I've never listened to, but apparently has listened to me?
Yeah. Starts with a "ra," ends with a "cha."
Yeah. You know what's super funny?
They're both my really good friends.
They're both really your good friends. I've never met them, and I've never.
You
listened
guys
to their
would
show.
actually like each other.
Yeah, they probably see my baby face and they just think, "Look at that fucking kid." That's probably what they think.
It's actually what they said. I'm just kidding.
Actually,
how old are you?
I'm 29 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not really a baby face. It's gonna turn soon.
No, you're 29.
Just look like a 29-year-old face.
Without looking you directly in the eye while I say this, I'm looking at this picture of Johnny Cash flipping everybody off here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you've aged well. You're gonna age well.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment. You know what's funny?
Is this real wood on the top of the roof? Or is that fake?
Totally.
Okay. Hey, I have the same chandelier in my house.
No kidding.
I do. Right above my dining or my
So here we go. Though.
kitchen
I want to
bar.
go back to this because I just don't get a lot of compliments on this shit. He complimented my jawline.
No, I didn't.
Then he
You
told me I
did.
was in shape.
No, I didn't. No, I
And now
didn't.
he's told me I've aged well.
No.
That's 3.
I feel great
nope.
right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So a negative COVID test, and I feel
I
I'm getting
said
complimented.
all of those
Granted,
things.
it's by a man. None of the women on the show
I've
said
said
any of
all of those things, but I'm going to be honest with you about your hosting abilities.
that. Well, I've heard that one.
Eek.
In fact, that's probably why Rump Chat said what they said. It's like,
You said
that
it.
guy-
I was gonna see how long it was going to be until you actually mentioned
You
it.
know, I had never mentioned it, but he brought it up. In fact, I had forgotten about it.
But I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
You didn't say it. And in fact, I wouldn't have even known about it. I wouldn't have even known about it.
The only reason I said it is because Hambone and Rump are two of my best friends, and I feel like you and I are going to be friends after this.
I don't think you could tell anybody the things you and I just told each other
Yeah.
to not be friends because that would be too dangerous.
That would be.
Yeah, you got to keep
'Cause
people who know stuff close.
I shared stuff with you that I've talked to my wife about.
Yeah.
And my brothers, right? But
Yeah.
never like other humans. My dogs. But anyways.
But they're
no,
not trained, right?
well, the one is. But he's not trained for a monkey.
I mean, what would you have to go through to get another monkey right now? It's probably a lot harder now to get one.
It's pretty difficult. I've watched my dad do it firsthand, and it's not an easy task.
Yeah, they probably don't want you to have them,
Well,
especially
it's-
for what he was doing.
It's one of those things like imagine Ty, okay? But as a monkey. And
It's not that hard to do now that I'm looking at him.
I just teed you up for that
You
one.
did.
I teed you up for that one.
This duo is dangerous. This is a dangerous duo for me, at
Yeah,
least.
two broadcasters.
I'm saying.
For everyone else, this is great content, but for me, it's somebody. I need to worry about this.
So this
I
is,
brought you a gift. Who else? What other
It's a
gift?
nice hat.
What other gift? Has any other guest brought you a gift?
how many guests have brought you gifts? Quite a few.
Royalty ID. We got a hat in that one. What did we get? We got a hat from Bonner Bolton.
Oh, Rank Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Royalty did Catfish and Corey come in?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you're the third person to bring us hats,
Third person. Hey, you know what? Third's better than none.
and the first one in a while. So
There we go.
It's a good crowd to be associated with for bringing gifts, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's why I didn't do that. Circling back 30 minutes later.
And that's how this show works. What's so funny is when you come back and you listen to these, you're like, wow, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's
They're all
what
like
we'll
this.
call this.
That's how they're all like Ty. As the person who views every episode who's not me blabbing, we always, when we first started this, we were like, oh, that's shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, holy shit. No, it is not. It is not shit.
So so I have this thing where if I can go back and listen to an event that I've done, I will.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing because I'm like, I know there I should have done less, there I should have done more. Like in your brain, as soon as I get done doing an event or announcing a rodeo or whatever it is, I automatically go through rewind process and I'm hard on myself, like probably more than I should be. And people close to me get on to me for it because I'm like, no, I sucked right there.
Yeah.
And it's not me going, oh, I sucked, but how good was I?
Does your wife stroke your ego, or is she good about helping you criticize yourself?
She is the realest. I know that she believes in me, but she's also very real, and I appreciate that. Like there's times she used to be really mean when she was right after Miss Rodeo America, and I hope she won't listen to this because she doesn't listen to anything that I do.
My wife doesn't listen to anything I do either.
Yeah.
Ever.
I've gotten over it at this point
Couple
because same.
Yeah.
Whenever I'll make her like, hey, I was on CBS, let's watch this. Oh, it's a bull riding. Is there barrel racing?
Yep.
No, there's not. Okay.
I strategically did not marry a barrel racer.
My dad told me to not marry two people, barrel racers and rodeo queens.
It would have been too easy to marry a barrel racer for me.
Yeah, because you're enthralled in it.
Yep.
I didn't know that whenever I first met my wife, I had no idea she was.
Hold on. Enthralled in it?
You were engrossed in it.
There you go. Enthralled.
Okay, listen, now is not the time to start. If we're going to start correcting my grammar.
What I don't want people to ever think is that I'm enthralled with barrel racing.
Enthralled.
But
Captured
at
the
one point
fascination or attention of.
I knew what enthralled meant because I don't want anybody to think that I'm fascinated with barrel racing. That's the only
You're
reason I'm
not?
saying that. I'm not.
You
I
weren't?
appreciate, no, I wasn't.
Never.
No.
I feel like
The-
if you're that much in it though, like you were.
I can appreciate the horses, and I have ridden and broke and even trained a lot of barrel horses.
Yeah.
But that's because it was all I knew how to do.
Okay.
I like to
It
rope
wasn't
more.
your passion though.
No, yeah, my dad was good about making sure I could rope here and there. We just never had good rope horses or cows. We always had to use cows. But
The first thing I ever roped was the sheep that the monkey
yeah,
would round up, and I would rope them in the pasture. That's how I learned to rope.
yeah, I was lucky. I had an aunt and uncle in Wyoming who had a ranch, and they actually taught me how to rope.
Nice.
But yeah,
Engrossed, not enthralled.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm sorry for everyone listening. I apologize. Sometimes the homeschool shows up.
yeah, it's fun that you didn't graduate high school.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, so this is going to be a bombshell. A lot of people probably
You don't
aren't.
tell people.
I don't.
Yeah,
It embarrasses me a little bit, but then there's another side of it where I'm like, I didn't graduate high school, and I'm doing pretty okay for myself.
yeah. So some of the best people I know didn't graduate high school. I'm not going to say their names, but they'd shock you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would be like, oh, that makes sense because he's an idiot. So, and he says enthralled in. So
No, the only reason I corrected you is because I don't want anybody to think, because I don't want to be put in that box.
Oh,
Not
so
a male
you
barrel
were correcting
racer.
me. I know you're
For
not a male,
himself.
but you were correcting me. Yeah, for himself, not for my misuse of the word.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I feel
not
better.
you. No,
I
it was-
thought
I
you
don't
were
want
on
people to
my
think-
crap.
No, it's just So I do this thing. I have this other thing where I don't like to wear boots and stuff, and I get made fun of for it ruthlessly.
Yeah.
I'm wearing boots right now.
Try growing up with a monkey, where everything that you're like, they're like, oh, did you ever invite girls back to spank the monkey? No, I didn't. I asked them if they'd want to see the monkey, but it was a furry little animal that rode a dog.
I bet it was.
Okay. Anyways,
Do you know one of our sponsors, Manscaped? We can take care of that furry little monkey problem for you. I bet your wife would be happy. They're gonna be happy.
and we're done. All right, this has been the Gauge Podcast with Chance Conradu, Ty, and Anthony Lucia.
Yeah.
Manscaped.com, code gauge.
Do you guys
That was a great
do
pitch.
you guys have a deal with Manscaped?
Yeah.
There's some other friends of mine that have a podcast that just got a deal with Manscaped.
Yep. And just so you know,
I prefer scissors. Going
Again,
to add
use
to
code
this.
gauge for
Try.
free shipping and 20% off your order.
he's
At
trying.
all.
It's his dream.
They have
He was a skeptic of the gauge at first.
a machine called the Weed Whacker to groom your man parts.
Show them what their logo looks like.
It's an awesome logo.
Oh my god,
You go to church on Sunday?
I do.
You're gonna have a lot to explain after
I
you see
didn't.
this.
I didn't go yesterday.
What do those look like?
An upside down heart. What do you see when you see that, you weirdo?
Well, only because I know exactly what it
I
is,
see the Manscaped logo.
and because I thoroughly use their products.
well, if you're a male barrel racer, don't you? What?
Don't you what? Be careful. There's a lot of male
No,
barrel
I
racers
know.
out there.
Hey, and I think it's great.
Have you ever been to the East Coast? They don't even know
Yes.
it's not acceptable.
It is acceptable, you weirdo.
Yes, it is.
Sheesh. I was just giving you heck. But for added air,
Aerodynamics.
aerodynamics. That's
You mean-
the word.
The male barrel. The male
And
barrel
gross.
racers you've been around don't wear pants. What kind of rodeos you been announcing?
Man, I don't know.
You're stuck in a hole.
I am.
Oh God.
Anyways.
Oh God.
So.
Oh no.
The Manscaped logo looks like an upside down heart.
Oh, yeah, it does. Why is the heart so wrinkly?
It's not wrinkly. It was not. It wasn't wrinkly. Those were just designs.
I will give them some credit. Their branding is pretty brilliant.
Some of their commercials that you see pop up on Facebook and
that
stuff.
one with Gronkowski. That one's hilarious.
Where he's eating Doritos and he's like, "What? This is how I eat chips." That's a great one.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny. Who's he play for?
Yes.
He plays. He went with Brady. I always thought that was really strange. That
he's
he went with
on
Brady.
the team. He's yet to play good.
Yeah, I don't watch football anymore because of all the stuff.
What stuff?
All the kneeling and stuff. I just don't like it.
Listen,
And the Broncos suck now.
boy,
Yeah,
don't
they
they?
do.
Yeah.
God
Oh yeah,
damn.
Colorado boy. Yeah. Yeah. One of my best friends is a team roper. His name's Cody too, and he's diehard Broncos fan. And he's just, you talk to him about the Broncos, and it's just, they're so terrible.
Bad. But, okay, that's history, right? 2 Super Bowls with Elway. Terrible for a decade and a half. 2 Super Bowls with Manning. It's going to be a decade and a half. I don't know.
Manning didn't win 2 with them. He just won 1.
No, he
Well, he
went to 2.
2.
Oh, he did go to 2, yeah.
Yeah, he won 1, but he went to 2.
Yeah. Yeah. All I know is
yeah,
I
the
had,
one that they lost handedly.
yeah. The one thing that I'm discouraged about is we were super excited to get the secondhand coaches of the Green Bay Packers here in the Dallas Cowboy world.
How you guys enjoying that?
And this has been a difficult year so far. We're only in week 4, but good gosh almighty.
Yeah.
Our defense is the worst defense in the NFL. There's no reason when you're averaging 38 points a game that you shouldn't be winning those games. Not to get off on the NFL subject because it's just frustrating though as a Cowboys fan.
I'm just saying, you got a coach that in his last season, Green Bay went 6-9-1. Just saying.
Okay, thank you, Ty. Can you go ahead and press that button and mute yourself again? Okay, thanks. Anyways, we're gonna keep talking. Wow.
You know, you haven't used one of
Owen
those sound
Wilson.
effects in forever.
Do you have sound effects?
When we got the soundboard, okay, so this was one of the big goals here.
Shenanigans.
It was to get the best equipment we could get.
Yeah, and you guys have done. This is a beautiful studio.
And Ty, like, when he saw that soundboard, he was like,
Yes.
yeah, he was
Got
like,
a little-
this- and he just like, wow, sound effects. He was doing it on every show.
And now, is that a digital sound? What is that?
Yeah, it's kind of a digital soundboard.
Okay.
So it does have physical buttons, but I programmed them digitally.
Physical buttons?
Buttons.
Buttons. Okay,
Buttons.
enunciate.
Sorry. Yeah, I know that's a problem.
Sheesh. All right, so give me your sound effect.
Uh,
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
He's timed them pretty well in some shows too.
That's phenomenal.
so this is how I felt all of this show.
My emotions! My emotions!
Ty's a safe space guy
This
too.
is greatness. Oh my gosh. So my best friend Jersey Jake, like for Live with Lucia, we get to work a few rodeos together each year, but he's got like movie quotes in his arsenal.
Does he?
And he's like, "You want to punch me in the face right now, don't you?" Or like, "I haven't heard that one since I fell off my dinosaur." And like all these different
Step
ones.
Brothers quotes.
Yes, the Step Brothers quotes. And like, did we just become best friends? Like he has all those, and especially on my show, he plays them. And it's really good. Oh, I thought you
wasn't listening.
exactly. I set you up for that. Come on. You got that. Okay, so what are your hopes and dreams?
My hopes and dreams?
Yeah.
I usually don't talk about them in public. Since
Okay.
the show's not about me.
All right. Well, then
It's
what's
about
your
the
next
guest.
question?
My hopes and dreams, if you must know, and all you fans out there can help, is this to just grow. So
Yeah.
I don't want it to be the biggest rodeo podcast.
Yeah, you encompass a lot of different things. That's the one thing that I thought is really cool about this.
Yeah, it's
Podcast
it's
is-
strategic.
Yeah.
Because at least the running thought when I kind of created the idea of the Gauge podcast was to utilize big names and other things to help grow the sport of rodeo.
Sure.
So it's strategic. And you know, one thing that bothers me, people out there listening, you guys will download by the thousands upon thousands upon thousands an Ivy or a Haley or anybody rodeo, but then a Kendall Jones with like 2 million followers, you guys aren't going to give her the same love?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I've not listened to that one,
Yeah.
but I have listened to the Haley and the
Yeah,
Ivy
see,
one.
and that
But again,
brings
that's-
us full circle on why rodeo doesn't grow, because you don't invite other people in.
Okay,
Anthony?
listen. I'm going to listen to things that I enjoy.
Yeah,
I
that's a
know
great
that
point.
I want to know more about Haley, right?
Yeah.
I've wanted to know more about Ivy.
Yeah.
I want to know more. I want to know Emily Miller's story and listen to Tim O'Connell and Jesse Pope and
Yeah.
those guys, because what am I a fan of? What have I
Exactly.
dedicated my entire life to?
You don't care about a girl shooting a lion in Africa and going on Good Morning Today.
That sounds like a great story.
It's kind of cool.
I would love that. And maybe I should listen to it. I should broaden my, my horizons a bit.
It was more fun to listen to her and Ty argue about politics, actually.
It wasn't that
We didn't talk
long.
about the
We
lion
didn't really
all that
argue,
much.
though.
Is
Not
she
really.
voting for Biden? Is that what they argued about?
You just opened up a can of worms. We probably shouldn't talk about it on the podcast. She's not voting for Biden, no. But somebody in the room is.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Just gonna give you the look.
It's whatever you want. It's up to you.
It is up to you. That's why you get to vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the greatest thing. I will say this about rodeo. I wish that I'll say this about America. We are the greatest nation on God's green earth.
Ty will agree with that.
Period. The greatest nation on God's green earth. The thing that makes us great is the thing that also causes us to argue. And that's the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I feel like, and I know we're really jumping off the tracks, but I feel like
We open range here. There's no track.
if we would accept other people's opinions the way that we wish they would accept ours, then we would actually be more unified. Does that make sense?
Yes.
No, and that's the entire argument that a good portion of the center right makes, though.
Yeah.
But you don't get that from any side of the left. That's
Yeah.
the only issue I have with I would even say that I have some socially liberal views. I'm sure. I think a lot of
I think a lot of
younger
people, if you
probably do.
delve into it, people would find themselves like, if you said this, if you didn't even say if it was Republican or Democrat,
Yeah.
and you just said, this is something that I believe, they'd be like, right on, man.
Yeah,
I believe that too. Well, that's a Democratic view. Whoa, what? Nope.
it was
Not it.
The Democratic Party, and even you, Ty, you would have to admit, has changed a lot. Like this push for socialism, like an educated person, whether it be liberal or right center, is probably going to have a hard time accepting socialism.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You would, because
Yeah.
you're educated, Ty.
So-
there's no way you could support socialism.
So the way I look at at least my political views, I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to fiscally, but socially I'm more liberal, of course, like
Right.
Chance said. Yeah, it's just I think socialism is just a little too far. It's too far to the left, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's too far. I'm also more of a moderate.
Yeah. So you want to be able to make the money that the Republicans set up for you to make, but yet you don't want to believe their other core values.
Essentially, it's just some of a lot of the values within the conservative side.
Let me ask you this.
The Republican side just don't line.
Let me ask you this, Ty. If Trump wasn't representing the Republican Party, would you go?
It just depends.
Republican.
It depends. But I also, if it wasn't the Trump Republican Party, I probably have a better view on the Republican Party, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I mean, and that's the thing, even with me, and I don't get into politics, and that's one of my number one rules when it comes to announcing a rodeo is I am not going to force my beliefs upon you. You paid your money to watch this rodeo, to be entertained by the greatest sport or the greatest 2.5 hour show in the world. So that's my job. My job is to not make fun of Trump or at the time make fun of Hillary or make fun of Biden or any of the above, no matter what my beliefs are. And there's some rodeo clowns that I work with that think that that's their job in life is to...
It's easy.
It's
to do
too
right now.
easy. That's what I'm saying. It's too easy. So then go beyond that. Show me you have some creativity. Show me you have some actual humor in your body where you're not just going to take the sticker off the wall and go Sleepy Joe, or take the sticker off the wall and go Trump's this or whatever. Like, be creative.
Yeah, and for me, I actually don't care what your views are. Like, if you're a good person, great. If you're a shitty person, I don't care how you vote. You're a shitty person.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it just
absolutely.
doesn't matter. You know, unless you try to shove like socialism down my throat or something like that. Pause.
I'm not doing that. Why are you looking at me
No,
for
no,
that?
I'm not. You don't.
sure.
And I'm giving you, that's why I gave you credit on air, because I just don't want people to have the wrong opinion of you, Ty.
You're not a crappy person, Ty.
No, you're a good guy. And you work hard, and that's the number one thing.
Boom. And that goes against socialism.
It does.
Because people that work hard are supposed to progress further in life. People that want to be lazy and take things for free are not going to progress in life. Literally, this country was founded on people that worked hard. And if you want to be successful, you're going to work harder. And if you want to make more money than anybody else, you're going to have 4 jobs instead of 2 jobs or 3 jobs or whatever. That's where I have an issue with that.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like these people who don't have that, right? They'll see somebody who's got it really good. And there's a lot of them, really. There's a lot of people who have wealthy parents who help them.
Sure.
But what's wrong with second generation or third generation money? Somebody in their family set it up. I mean, if you have children, there's nothing you want more than to set them up so where they
Yes.
don't have to go through the struggles you had to
Exactly.
go through.
So that where that comes in, it's where it's you do get the second generation, third generation money, but you're just lazy about it. That's where at least my issues come in with it. But people like Jeff Bezos who work their ass off out of their garage to where they are, I can appreciate that.
Isn't
Yeah.
it weird how he's so democratic, though? Like, he's so liberal? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It makes
doesn't.
you wonder, though. And that's why I have problems with the
It's-
Democratic Party is you've got people like Bezos funding it.
I believe it's pronounced
Why
Bezos.
is he doing that?
But also, I also think that Bezos should also be spending a bit more tax money than he actually is.
A bit?
A lot.
How much money has he made off COVID? Just saying.
But also, how much money has he not paid in taxes? So,
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
I'm
saying-
agreeing with you.
Yeah, all right.
But
Make sure.
he's one of the major funders of the Democratic Party.
That was my
I don't-
sound effect.
He's
Come
trying to
on,
bring
come
attention.
on. This is
Oh,
good.
no, I don't, but
I like this.
I'm not that well educated, at least on Bezos, too much. Besides that, he runs Amazon and he just doesn't pay his taxes. But
Yeah, well, I'm
but
sure that you've been
Bezos-
vocal about Trump's taxes.
Is an old
I do.
wooden ship that the Pilgrims used to settle America.
And this is
Bezos.
what happens when you don't go to high school.
Where'd you get a hand grenade?
Diversity. Diversity.
He's
Oh, yes.
confusing Bezos with the Mayflower.
no, he's confusing it with an Anchorman quote.
Yes, I'm kidding. Gosh.
You know, I haven't
Diversity.
seen Anchorman in so long. I would not have picked up on that one.
Boy,
Well-
that escalated quickly.
I do remember that.
Really got out of hand fast.
I
You
miss.
should probably
I miss
lay low
the,
for a while.
I miss the era where it was okay for those movies to exist.
Ah,
They still are allowed to exist.
No, I'm just saying they don't make movies like where you just can't do anything like that anymore.
no.
You can't make a
It's-
super. You can't make a super bad right now.
Oh
No, gosh.
no.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, though, to
Yes,
say that
ridiculous.
when it wasn't that long ago? That it's just like an Anchorman 2 whenever, he was meeting the president or whatever, and she's an African American, and he was like, oh, by the way, when we go in here, don't say black. And then he walks in and he's like, black. I like my coffee black. You can't do that.
It's
And
No, you can't.
but it's funny because Borat 2, they just released the trailer lately.
I saw that.
It's like you can't. I don't think a Borat would ever get away, but some people will push stuff like that, and it's funny enough, it's going to be on Amazon. But
Oh, man.
I mean, you should push the boundaries of virtually everything,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. I think there comes a point where, though we say that, but I also think on the other side of it, if it was something that affected us in a negative way,
Oh, totally.
and we felt the repercussions of racism and things like that, then we would see things differently, right?
I think absolutely.
And it doesn't matter where you are in your views. If they're making fun of that, but it doesn't apply to you, it's funny.
Yeah.
But if they're making fun of that and it applies to you, you're like,
Yeah.
you maybe should rethink this. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where the having the wider view of things comes into play is, and it's the same thing that I say whenever I'm announcing. I'm saying things not necessarily that only that I will like, but I'm trying to think of our entire audience and what will appeal to them. That's why I avoid politics, because it's no different at the Mineral Wells Rodeo, and I'm voting for Trump, and I'll say that right now. But when the American flag came in, the parachuters on the top of his parachute said Trump 2020. Well, I was talking to one of my friends there who was the entertainer there, Matt Merritt, and he was like, I love that we brought in the American flag, But we brought in the American flag, but then it was at that moment that if there was anybody there that wasn't a Trump supporter, then we were apart.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity to unite us all, red or blue, black or white, no matter color, no matter what your race, creed, or political stance is. We had an opportunity to unite us under one flag, which is how it's supposed to be. But it was followed up by with Trump 2020.
Yep.
And that's when, whether it was one person, whether it's 300 people, that's where they went, oh, these guys.
Guys, it's not audio only. The Gauge is on YouTube. Every single episode's on YouTube. We got 4K cameras, the best stuff. Check it out on YouTube if you want to see faces. Bright, smiling faces. We don't just use this lighting for nothing. We video it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Lots of people are watching the videos, but not a lot of people are subscribing. Please help me. Help us. Help the Gauge. Subscribe on YouTube.
Are you going to lean anymore?
I don't know. It's possible.
He loves to lean way too much on this podcast.
Does he lean back?
He leans back out of
Lean
frame.
back.
He leans to where he's at the bottom of the picture and like the bottom left. And
It's just YouTube. It's fine.
It is just YouTube.
Not just
They're very
YouTube.
forgiving. They're very forgiving.
I subscribe to y'all's YouTube channel.
You know, it's really hard to build a YouTube channel with just recorded content. We've toyed with the idea of making like specific for YouTube videos, but it's just like...
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't even begin to know how to build a YouTube channel. Like, Dale has done a good job with the West, Fallon has done a good job.
Both of them have done really, really great jobs.
But they've made that their job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's their whole goal, is to create content.
And it's great because, I wish there was 10 Dale Brisby's. I wish there was 8 Fallons. I really do, because they're actually doing a good job of helping grow the sport. And and Dale's not even technically in the sport, like as an athlete, but he's in the sport.
He has been in the past. Yeah.
Now, which is great, because I don't think you should have to rodeo a day in your life to be able to contribute to rodeo.
Sure.
I think it's important. People like you, right? People like your dad, all these other people who can do that and help it grow. And it's just very interesting with with a Dale Brisby. He probably has more followers on Instagram than any other rodeo person out there.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. And even like 12 Gauge Ranch, I never knew what 12 Gauge was until at Darby, Tim O'Connell picked me up from the airport and drove me down. And I go, what is 12 Gauge? And he told me about Dustin and the whole passion behind all of this that he's doing. And I don't know, and I can't speak to this, but has he ever rodeoed or done anything like that?
No. And Dustin is a great guy because he entered the sphere of rodeo.
Yeah.
As a complete and total outsider, having never rodeoed or been to a rodeo probably. I don't know. I guess I don't know if he went to one as a kid ever, but he... What the hell are you guys doing? Close the door.
what was that?
I like listening. I'm sorry.
The
ladies that Chance has locked up in this wooden cave just peeked their heads out, and Chance gave them a look, and just so everybody who can't see,
continue selling my stock, for God's sakes.
For listeners of previous few, if you guys heard a loud bang in one of the last episodes,
cut all this. It's very unprofessional. Seriously, cut it all out. It's very unprofessional.
It's so funny though.
The poor damsel's locked up in the wooden cave.
Just as I'm getting ready to tell Dustin's story, it gets derailed. He's going to be very upset.
Okay, let's start over.
I'll get the wrap up. No,
I got
Anyway.
this. Let me lead you back into it.
No, yeah, I know, right where we were. But anyway, it's great though, because Dustin's another one of those come from absolutely nothing place. Now he went to a totally different sphere, right? He was cleaning pools in his latter teen years. Left Missouri, went to Florida, barely had anywhere to live, started working to clean pools.
Wow.
And just slowly but surely worked his way up to owning literally the biggest pool company in Florida by a mile.
Yeah.
Right? And was living in a beach castle on the frickin' water. Like, it was dope. Like, anybody would give up horses for that house that he had. Met some cowboys, went to a rodeo, happened chance.
Yeah.
Went to a rodeo. Started asking them about their patches. Say, how much does Wrangler so-and-so, and he'll tell anybody this story. He tells it all the time. How much do they give you? And he'll go, oh, well, you know, Mr. Pointer, they gave me 12 pairs of jeans. And he was like, huh? I'll give you $5,000 right now for that exposure for my company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so his goal initially was to try to help cowboys realize their worth and get more money out of sponsors. Some sponsors may not like to hear that, but which is why he kind of developed the athlete program. And it just kind of turned into this thing. People are like, well, I don't understand what 12 gauge is. Well, first and foremost, he went from that point and started buying up ranches and property and getting cows and doing these things and growing that. Now there's a good breeding program that's coming out, and you know, my mom trains barrel horses, and it's really become a great thing. But the number one thing is helping cowboys and giving them good sponsorships, right? And creating a team environment. It really works. And there's a reason why everybody wants to be on them. One, because they know they're going to get a good sponsorship. They're going to get health insurance opportunities. No sponsors give health insurance opportunities. And they're going to get to be a part of a collective, right? And they're not going to have to sell themselves short,
Right.
really. But it's not, that was the main thing, right? It started out as like, well, this, and then now there's a saddle company, and there's these things. But at the very beginning, at the core of what it is, and it hasn't changed at all, even though there's employees and there's people and there's horses and there's cows and there's all these things, right? We've strategically tied the gauge into it. Dustin is most people may not know this. Yeah, I came up with it. Every single thing. It's funny. Everything that's happened, and I'm really proud of this, I put on a bullet point proposal when we were putting this together, and it's worked out really well. But Dustin is the other half of it, and we talk about it, and we come at everything, whether it be 12 gauge ranch or this, with just a business mindset, and that's why it works.
Yeah.
But it benefits a lot of people.
Oh,
the money that
absolutely.
he puts into rodeo, I won't even help so much, whether it's the junior NFR, whether it's the individual sponsorships, whether it's the local rodeos in Florida, the high school finals, whatever it is. Like, there's just not a lot of people who do it just to help. He shouldn't. He shouldn't do it. Let's be honest. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he probably doesn't get the appreciation that he deserves for it. For
Well,
only wanting to help people.
That goes back to our original thing is what's going to progress our sport, people that believe in our sport. And from what little I know about Dustin, a couple times I've spoke to him, his heart of hearts is to grow
And help.
and educate and help. And the way that Tim O'Connell talked about him and the, like you said, the healthcare, things that rodeo people, you wouldn't even think about that, because most people either pay it for themselves, or, you know, and it costs an arm and a leg, or they get it through a company or through their workplace. And that's
their wives. So many of their wives.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's what's so neat about this. And I'm not stroking because I have nothing to gain, but it's just neat to see somebody believe in our sport. And I think in it's no different than Patrick Gosh and RFD.
Yeah.
Yeah, could he gain something from it? Yeah. But in his heart of hearts, the whole reason he's devoted the American, all the different things that they've done, that's been because he loves this sport and the people of it.
Yeah. I mean, his brother Bobby did too. Yeah. Or does.
Which Bobby?
Bobby Gotch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had a brother.
Yeah. In fact, it's funny. Yeah. They used to get horses from my dad, so I rode in their plane one time.
Oh,
when I was
that's
a little
cool.
kid.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting way. I've actually never even met Patrick. But,
Okay. Yeah. But I think that's what's going to, circling back from where we first started earlier, that's what's going to truly progress our sport, is the people that really care.
Yeah.
And yes, people with money and big influence, that's also what's going to continue to
But
progress
it's
our
okay,
sport.
right? Because if you look at a Dustin, you're like, oh, that's just a rich guy. Dude, you do not know what somebody like that has to do to become that.
I've always
especially
had
in
an
a
issue with
cutthroat-
that, man.
Well, I do too, because especially first generation people.
Yes.
It's like if this guy can do it, and believe me, his background is as colored as you and I's.
Yeah.
And if he can do it, and then he wants to help the sport,
And then
just
pay it forward again,
Take the name Dustin away from it.
Yeah.
Right? Anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then pay it forward directly into the industry that we're all a part of.
Yeah.
Like, you guys better shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Like, seriously, you don't know
Yeah.
what it would be like to not have people like that. Because we all know the other people
Oh, yeah.
in the industry
Yeah,
who
yeah.
only take from it.
Right. And that's in any business, I feel like.
Any
yeah.
business. Yeah, it just happens to be that's the one we're in.
Yeah.
But
But that's what's so neat is people like that. And again, I go back to the people that don't know your story and the people that have, I've had other announcers come up to me and say like, like when my dad was alive, like I would get to do these different things and trick up with the NFR, and whether it was announcers or other specialty acts, and they were like, oh, must be nice to have your dad be able to pull strings for you to get in there. And I'm like, man, if you only knew. Sean Davis, who ran the NFR for the longest time, legend of pro rodeo, him and my dad didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Sean Davis and my brother didn't like each other. So I literally had two of my closest family members like almost working against me without they weren't physically working against me, but because of their relationship with different people, it was working against me.
Don't I know?
And okay. So, and then even like today, any jobs that I get, they're like, oh, is Tommy Joe doing that? Tommy Joe's my older brother.
Yeah.
Like, nope, doesn't have anything to do with it. Well,
Right.
how'd you get in there then? I guess they liked me.
You know what's funny is people undervalue so much someone's willingness to just pick up a freaking phone and have the balls to ask for something or just say they want to do
They
something.
have to make it smaller to make themselves feel bigger. That's what I've come to the realization is the only reason people will talk crap on anybody that's successful is to try to in some way make themselves feel better because they're not there or they're not that event. And that's the biggest thing that I think I've learned. When I was young, my dad always used to tell me, he said, just Anthony, as you grow in this business, you're going to realize how few of friends you have. And I'm like, oh, you're just a grumpy old man. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I've had guys that I look up to in a big way. I think of them as heroes, literally keep me from getting jobs because they don't want to announce with me because I'm too energetic or I'm too passionate or I'm he goes pretty hard. And what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. And that kind of stuff is a real thing. And I would say anybody that's listening to this, if you have people doing that, let that be a driving force to you and let that be a motivator to work that much harder and accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, not to beat anyone, not to be better than anyone, but to be the best you that you could possibly be, period.
That's probably the best advice anybody could be given, period. And I can't act, to be honest, like that's the best mic drop. Don't drop the mic.
I can't. It's hooked to this fancy thing.
It is.
That says Joe Rogan on it.
I know. Yeah,
Rhodey. Never mind.
It's funny you say that. We did copy. That's where I looked when we were searching for stuff. It's like, okay, where's the best place to find the best stuff? I'm going to copy Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and then he copied us, and he came to Texas.
Rogan better get some money for his advertising.
I don't think he needs any more money after that Spotify deal. Then again, did you hear all the Spotify people are going on strike? I know. Wrap it up. I get it, but still, I found
are we
that
at
to be
time?
very interesting.
Yes.
Holy cow! It's jeepers creepers. Are we on time?
Yeah.
How long is this going to be?
Well, that's a $1 million question.
All right.
This is part 2 of The Gauge with Anthony Lucia and Chance Conradu.
Look at how he put his name before mine.
No.
Typical rodeo announcer.
Hey, man, it's all about branding.
Typical rodeo announcer.
I'm Anthony Lucia, and this is The Gauge, hosted by Ty and Chance Conradu.
At the very back. Yeah, I see what's happening here. Here comes the power that I have. Is we're not airing this episode at all.
Wow.
You just wasted your time, sir.
It's all good. I
know
fun.
all your deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah, I'm all good. I got 2 free drinks out of it and got to visit with some people.
You did.
It's a good day.
It was a great day. But to be honest, yeah, what you just said though, I think if you ignore every bit of the podcast and only listen to that part, I think that is probably the strongest advice. Anybody who's had a hard go, who's figured something out, listen to that.
Yeah. And I don't want to come across like, oh, I've been beat down and downtrodden and all this and that. But on the same hand, it doesn't matter. There's nobody that's achieved anything in this world that's been just handed to them. There's not. Because even if it was gifted to you and handed to you, then at some point you had to bust your butt to keep it afloat.
You still have to deliver.
You still got to deliver. If somebody gives you a ship, you still got to row it. You still got to guide it. You still have to keep it afloat because over time, there's going to be people trying to mutiny it, or start a mutiny.
Or take it.
Yeah. this, anyways. And then there's gonna be storms.
I'm talking about like a pirate. A mutiny happens on the ship.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying somebody take it. Yeah, I got
Something
you.
we
I got
learned
you.
in
Okay.
12th grade.
Yeah. Okay. What's that like? Oh, you had a senior year? Ooh.
Thank God. I would have taken 3 of them.
But either way, no matter if you're successful at anything, it's come through hard work in some way, shape, or form. And there's not any human that I know of, at least, that has been successful in something that hasn't earned every last bit of it.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
My dad always said, and this is the last thing I'll say, and then you guys do your close or whatever. My dad always said, and my dad said a lot of things, but hard work always works. And hard work is, other than time, is the only thing that's undefeated, period. And then hard work always works is you never stop working hard. So there's multiple ways to look at that statement as hard work always works. And that I would say is, if whether I never announce another rodeo, whether I have no other opportunity, whatever I do, whether I'm, construction worker or whatever I have to do in life to provide for my family, I'm never not going to be, or at least try to be, the hardest worker in the room.
100%. Yeah, and that's the trick to life.
It is. It is.
This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content by Cassie Emerson. Our theme song is by Shay Ashshire and the Night Howlers. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.